Today, we are going to take this cute little quilt bundle with pre-cut fabric and make a baby quilt. This kit is from Pitchfork Quilts, and these pieces are laser cut. So, let's get started. Caitlin reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in putting together one of her quilts in a video. And you know, I always love something that's pre-cut and ready to go, and something that is as beautiful as this baby quilt. Let me turn it over and there's another picture. So sweet. And you know, there's a lot of white space in this quilt. So I'm going to kind of knock out two birds with one stone, only they're not real birds because I would never throw stones. My point is, I am going to make this quilt with the pre-cut kit that Caitlin sent to me, and I'm going to use my embroidery machine to quilt it. I haven't been doing as much quilting on my machines as I would like to lately, so I kind of feel out of practice. And I don't want to do this quilt any injustice by not quilting it as beautifully as it should be quilted. And I am quite confident that I will be able to find an end-to-end pattern that we can use on this quilt that will make it beautiful. So let's get started on the quilt. The directions are awesome. You get this whole booklet and it tells you exactly what you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is mark your squares with an X. And you are going to be creating 8 half square triangles with this one block. So you're going to take your white block and your mauve block. Now I am working on the girl baby quilt. This quilt is with navy and blue, and it's for a little boy. So with a pin like this one, you are going to take your fabric and you are going to mark an X. X marks the spot. I just use my ruler and my cutting mat in order to do that. Then you are going to take that to your sewing machine and you are going to sew on either side of your lines a 1/4 inch seam. Typical sew your 1/4 inch seam through the X type of thing. Only when you trim the block down, you're going to add 2 more slices with your rotary cutter, and you are going to get 8 half square triangles. Guess what? I discovered something. Now, you all know that I am a lazy quilter when it comes to pressing things, but this little trick helped me. So I'm going to, again, take my Faultless Luxe spray, lightly spray my square before I cut it. Then I'm going to put my iron on, and I am pressing, and I'm being careful because when I sew, and I don't know if this happens to you, but I get little crinkles. So what I'm doing is I am just pressing, and I'm trying to press this so I don't have any wrinkles. And it may not be absolutely perfect because I probably didn't line up perfectly. but I am working through it. And now I have a piece of fabric or a block that is flatter. And that is going to make my cuts more accurate. And it is also going to make it easier for me to trim these down with the slotted ruler. Let me show you. Now I need to mark 2 more places because I'm not just going to get 4 half square triangles out of this. I'm going to get 8. So let me show you how. I am going to put my ruler here, and I'm going to line up where these X's cross. I'm going to take my marker. I'm going to put a mark there, running over where these 2 lines cross. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, now I'm going to take my rotary cutter, and those are the first 2 lines I'm going to cut. So now I have 4 of these. And now I'm going to cut through the middle of the double lines from corner to corner. Here are my little ruler clamps. So this is a little bitty baby one, and it clamps onto my smaller rulers. This one is bigger. It holds my big ruler, and it has a light, so it makes it easier to see your ruler. These are both from Caterpillar. I will put a link in the description below so that you can go look at these rulers. Also, let me point out low light, highlight. And the way that you charge it is with a USB-C cable. Now I'm going to break out my handy dandy slotted trimmer, and this one is for half sizes. So I have this stack of half square triangles, and I still have more to cut out, but I'm going to show you how we come up with our 3.5 inch half square triangles. So I'm going to line this up, trim on either side, and if you all have watched my previous videos, you know that I like to use these slotted trimmers. And here I'm going in these little slots on the side to get rid of the dog ears. All right, so here I've got 2 half square triangles with the dog ears removed. Let's go to the pressing station and see how we press these to get the best half square triangle block we can get. I have my iron, I have my half square triangle block, and I have my Faultless Luxe spray. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my seam. Then I'm going to press toward the dark side. I am not going to iron. I am not going to pull. So there, I've just given it enough heat for it to lay down. Now, again, not ironing. I'm just going to press, and then I have a perfect half square triangle. I have been making great progress on my quilt. I have taken my half square triangles and I have created two different kinds of 2-block strips. So I have one that is a left turning block and one that is a right turning block. And look who's here just in time to help me. I love how Oliver shows up just in time to stand on my stuff. Okay, so where I was is I was showing you my left turning block and my, hold on, now I have, so what I have done is I have taken my half square triangle blocks and I have formed on this side left turning half square triangle blocks and right turning half square triangle blocks. And then I sew those together to create an 8-inch square for each way. Now, let's look at the book and see what's next. So I made 3 sets of 32 half square triangle blocks. And then I took one set to create my right turning blocks and another set to create my left turning blocks. So I have one set left over. Now I'm going to take this set and I'm going to sew this like this to square A. And everything is so neatly labeled, so I know this stack is square A. So I will turn all of my blocks in the same orientation, and then I will sew A to the last set of my half square triangle blocks. Okay, we have a pile to trim apart because we chain pieced, creating that next block. So let's get these trimmed and then we need to press them. So I used 6 of my left turning pinwheels and attached this double block. I'm not sure how to exactly describe it. So I'm going to set that aside. I have 2 left turning pinwheels left over, pinwheels, not pinwheels. Been in Kentucky too long. And I am supposed to take 2 of the B. How awesome is that? It has the letter and the size. So I'm going to put this tag back on the 2 that are left. I love the way she's labeled everything. Makes it so easy. And I need to sew these onto the last 2 pinwheel blocks. And that's that. So those 2 are done. I'm going to set them to the side. Now I need to take the right turning pinwheel and I need to put this half square triangle strip next to all 8 of the right turning pinwheels. Here are those all sewn up. Now we're going to construct sashing rows. So we're going to take our half square triangle strip and we are going to take our A block and match it to that. And then I'm going to take the same half square triangle strip and I'm going to put a white block on the other side of the half square triangle block. And I need 6 of those. So let's get all of these sewn and we'll see what's next. As you can see, I went by the book and I put all of my rows up on the design wall. And the last page of the book, I think that's the last page. Nope, there's a little bit more for the backing and that. But this shows you what order to put them in. So you've got how to build your rows, how to build your quilt, and then how to add your borders. Okay, so I'm going to sew these all together. Hopefully they'll look the same as they do now, but they'll all be lined up. We'll add the borders, and then I'm going to use my embroidery machine to quilt it. Fluff it out, and I think we're good. All right, here's what the backing looks like. And here's what the front looks like. So I've got some trimming that I'm going to want to do, but it looks pretty good. So what I want to do is I want to start in the middle of my project. So I'm going to hoop the middle of my project, and we will get started on picking out thread and getting this quilted. So here is a piece of stabilizer that I have stitched my design on. I don't know how well you can see it. I think you can see it pretty well. And what I did is I kind of just laid it here. This is the starting stitch, and this is the ending stitch. So if I start here, and I just mark my ending stitch, and where I'm going to end is where I'm going to start the next design. Okay, so I'm going to move this down, and then here's where I end, and here's where I start. That works perfectly. I go off the edge, but not too far. So this design is going to be great. What I want to do also, if you notice, I have rolled this up, and I am working on what I believe to be about the middle of the quilt, and that's where I want to start. So I'm going to put this right about here, and this is where I want my hoop. And what I'm going to do, so this is going to be right here, because what I did is I trimmed around the edge of my hoop so I know where I need to place my hoop in relation to this stabilizer. Alright, so I think I've got that pretty well. I'm going to set that aside, and this looks straight here. Okay. Here is the original design on this paper, and what I've done is I've folded this stabilizer right where the stitch that goes furthest to the left is. So I know that if I keep this line away from this line of stitching, I'll be okay. Now I can use these lines of the quilt to make sure that I am doing this straight. I'm actually going to mark a little bit in my mauve area and off the edge where you won't see it behind the binding. And then I'm going to take my pins, and I'm just going to put a line of pins so that I know exactly where to line this up on my hoop. And we'll go back to the embroidery machine. I still have the hoop on my machine. Now I'm going to go to +1, and where my needle is sitting is exactly where the first stitch will go. I am stitching these vertically as opposed to horizontally. All right, this is straight, this looks straight to me, so I'm happy with this hooping. My quilt top is complete. And here is the back. I am really pleased. This was a lot of fun to make, a lot of half square triangles, but it turned out so pretty in the end. I did add a line of quilting in between 2 rows of pinwheels that I didn't feel like I got quite close enough. So I'm going to hang it up and see if you can find where that is. This is the girl version, and it is, and of course it doesn't have to be the girl version, that's just, you know, because it's the Foxfire. Because it is the mauve color, we're going to call it the girl quilt. Now we also have the navy blue and white that Pitchfork Quilts was kind enough to send me. It's this one. And this is the one I'm going to give away. I will have a Google form in the description of this video, and you will get the chance to sign up and possibly win it. I am going to send it to anyone who wins it. Doesn't matter if you're in the US or Canada or England, wherever it is that you might be. If you win, I will send it to you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye.